All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the off season, which means it's smoke season, or at least that's what I call it. When we start to get all the rumors about potential moves, trades, signings, all these different types of things, and it's our job to run through the smoke and figure out what's really going on. And we have our first rumor of the off season regarding who is going to be the 49ers DC, and it comes from Pro Football Talk. So we do what we do best. We run straight into the smoke and we figure it out. And so let's take a look at what they are doing right now and what they're talking about. And as it currently stands, Pro Football Talk just put out an article that said some think Brandon Staley, who is the Chargers' former coach, and is a defensive mind. He was the defensive coordinator for the Rams in 2020, will end up being the next defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I know this is a move that would probably be one of the most unpopular moves amongst 49er fans in regards to filling that DC role left by the firing of Steve Wilkes. I know that with his time with the Chargers, it wasn't great. He spent about 3 seasons with them, and at the end, it got really bad. So, has a very poor perception amongst the average NFL fan. But in 2020, he was considered one of the hottest defensive coordinator candidates, and or he was the hottest defensive coordinator, which he leveraged into the head coaching job of the Chargers for the last 3 years. But let's kind of take a look at what Pro Football Talk is talking about. So let's see what we have here. It says, few believe that 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan fired defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes without having an idea as to the identity of his successor. Some around the league think Shanahan will eventually hire former Rams defensive coordinator and Chargers head coach Brandon Staley. Staley was fired by the Chargers during the 2023 season after a Thursday night blowout loss to the Raiders. When the Rams lost defensive coordinator Raheem Morris to the Falcons as head coach, Staley was considered but not hired to the Rams. Staley and Shanahan have not previously worked together. They squared off twice in 2020 when Staley ran the Rams defense. They had one game against each other. During Staley's time as the coach of the Chargers, 49ers won all 3 of the games with Staley as defensive coordinator or head coach. Staley is known for using multiple alignments aimed at getting the most out of the players. He's got the flexibility to use the Seattle cover 3 defense if that's what Shanahan wants and if that's what fits the personnel. Or Shanahan could trust Staley to teach the players different looks and fronts and approaches dictated by the opponent and not the system. There's no indication yet Shanahan will even interview Staley. He's arguably the best available option at this stage of the offseason, unless Shanahan can get the godfather of the Seattle defense, Pete Carroll, and is willing to take the job if Shanahan wants him, or unless Bill Belichick or Mike Vrabel would want the job. We'll see if it plays out. For now, however, he's keeping an eye on Staley because some people in the league circles believe it'll eventually be him. All right, so an article that feels like a whole lot of nothing, a lot of word salad, a lot of feel belief. So again, part of smoke season is trying to understand the what these mean and is there actual legs to this. And again, league circles is such a vague statement. Who are they talking about? What are they discussing? What does that mean? It could be anyone. It really could be anyone saying this. So it'll be fascinating to see. And again, I can already see the comments piling up. I posted it on Instagram. The comments, we got, I think, over 1,000 comments in the first 5 minutes of the post, and all the posts are just saying, please, no, not Staley. And I can imagine the posts on this the comments on this post are going to be somewhat similar. He, again, does not have a great perception at all in regards to NFL fans, but again, apparently is highly regarded in NFL circles as an NFL coach. And again, all we can really judge Staley off of is what he did last. And what he did last with the Chargers was not great. It really wasn't great. But again, being a head coach, there could be different circumstances at play. And again, his defense, they talked about how he got fired after that Raiders game in which they gave up a ton of points and just looked awful. It felt like they were able to build a pretty decent defense. Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa. They had Asante Samuel Jr. And again, you have, Derwin James. They had pieces on the defense. It just, again, it didn't really come together. And I know personally, just kind of following the Chargers, they've dealt with a ton of injuries on both sides of the football throughout his tenure. So that also plays a part in it. But you know, you heard in the article by Pro Football Talk mentioning, you know, Bill Belichick, Vrabel, and Pete Carroll. I think Pete Carroll is a very fascinating name to throw out there. I think the popular front runners amongst the fan base is Vrabel and Belichick, and for obvious reasons. They have all the coaching cachet, they have the reputation, they have the legacy. Obviously, we know what Bill Belichick brings to the table, and with Vrabel as a first-time head coach with the Tennessee Titans, he did some good things and won NFL Coach of the Year. But you also have Pete Carroll, who, is the architect of the Legion of Boom. And as you heard, even in the article, one of the reasons why Staley is attractive is for the use of the Seattle Cover 3 defense, which is what the 49ers typically run, and they want to run. They want to be able to rush for and play coverage behind. They don't blitz a ton, and that's typically how they want to go about their defense. So, again, Pete Carroll feels like a pretty natural fit for that. And again, Pete Carroll was the 49ers defensive coordinator 95-96. And Pete Carroll credits Bill Walsh with helping him get his coaching start in the NFL. So there are 49ers ties there, obviously, a while ago. And back then, Mike Shanahan, Pete Carroll definitely would have crossed paths. So you're looking at a bunch of different scenarios with Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, and potentially Mike Vrabel, where there are relationships, there are connections, and there could be something that gets done there. But I think if I had to ask you as the fan, I don't think you guys want to see Staley. And you guys are going to let me know in the comments below. I want to read and see them all, how you guys feel about the potential of Staley. And clearly, if it's not Staley, who do you guys want? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.